Welcome to Bandit's Keep. I'm Daniel. Today I want to talk about going beyond kind of standard combat. So I've talked about unarmed combat. I've talked about other versions of the D20 combat. I've talked about how I use chainmail. But this is actually inspired by a book I'm reading, A Victory on Janus by Andre Norton. No relations. And this is a sci-fi book, but I'm not quite all the way through, and I'm not going to spoil it too much here. But there's a moment. One of the main characters is sent basically into this enemy's territory by themselves, and they're kind of put into this trap. They're a creature of the forest, right? In this, the enemy is kind of this anti-forest thing, but they've been building all these kind of clones, if you will, of various life forms, and they're feeling very uncomfortable, the main character, because they're in this kind of very unnatural place, and then they find this grove, right? And they can sense there's like moss, there's trees and water, and through their senses they pick up this isn't quite right. So they're able to kind of ignore it, and they're kind of moving on. You might call that just a charm spell or something, right? But then later they see a person of the opposite gender who they, had romantic interests in earlier, apparently in life. It's kind of a flashback. And that person is standing there and they're like, come to me, dance with me, blah, blah. And there's this like back and forth. And it's multiple paragraphs long and very tense where they're trying to resist it and they can't resist it. And they're trying to resist it and they can't resist it. And I thought, what is that in D&D, right? How do we do that in D&D? Obviously, there's make a saving throw. They charm you, you don't, right? Then there's something that like is often used, I've seen used a bunch in 5th edition. I don't know if it's used in other editions beyond that, where you have multiple saving throws or saving throw every round. And if you fail X number, like let's say when you get turned to stone by Medusa, right? Then it finally takes effect. That can also work. But again, is that fun? I'm not sure. Maybe sometimes. I thought, why not make a mini game out of it? I love mini games, and when I run my To Slay a Dragon game at conventions, I have a bunch of little mini games where people do a lot of these kind of various other tasks, right? Because they're not actually combat. So I thought I'd kind of whip something up here, talk about it a little bit, and let me know what you guys think. So effectively, I'm going to call this a battle of wills. This will be something that you're going to use whenever it's something more than just like somebody throwing a basic charm person spell, a major bad guy trying to manipulate you, or if they're trying to have you do something that would be beyond what a charm would do. In most editions, you can't charm somebody then say, go jump off a cliff, So this would be for that. So a pretty major situation. And what we're going to do is we're going to take kind of the idea from the unarmed combat system, which is a dice pool system. We're going to take either your PC's intelligence or wisdom, whichever one is more applicable to the situation, and that's going to count as your willpower score for this combat. Effectively, your hit points, right? The enemy is going to, if they're an NPC and they have ability scores, they'll do the same. Otherwise, I made a quick little chart here. If they have from 2 to 3 hit dice, it'll be 9, the willpower that is. If they have from 4 to 5 hit dice, it'll be 12. 6 to 10 hit dice, it'll be 15, and 10 plus hit dice will be 18. It's a powerful, powerful monster, right? So that's their will score. Then we're going to roll a number of 6-siders equal to our level, or hit dice, depending on what system you're using. And the difference will be subtracted from the willpower score of the other side. So this will actually eventually go down to 0 when somebody loses. So in this case, if this character in this book loses this battle of the will, they're going to go with this other, clearly a clone, and probably be, who knows, captured, terminated. Read the book, you'll find out. If they win, then the enemy is blown back. They have to leave. They flee. Whatever you want to do. It really depends on the situation. And this can be used for a lot of different things. It could be used for that scene in Dune. I'm going to spoil Dune a little bit, where he sticks his hand. I did not read the book. I just saw the movies. He sticks his hand in is it a bag? He sticks his hand in a box. And it's like painful and stuff. You could use it for that, right? The box itself might have a will score versus the PC's will score. And if they lose, then they pull their hand out. And, again, not going to spoil Dune beyond that. You can use it for all kinds of stuff like this. And it creates a nice round by round play. And you could even have, depending on what's happening, other people interfere, right? So first round goes by. The PC is not, overtaken immediately, but there's other people in the party, right? Maybe they try to tackle the person. Maybe they try to interfere somehow. Maybe there's another fight going on. Maybe they can cast a spell, break the attention, stuff like that. You can let people play it up and kind of make it into more of a combat when it's not really a combat. And I think this can create a lot more tension and fun at the table. I've done a lot of these little mini games. If this is something you're interested in, this kind of stuff, maybe I'll do more content like this. I have a fun one where well, I'll talk about that another time. In any case, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Check the description for a link to my Discord server and my Patreon if you want to join up for either one of those two things. And I'll talk to you soon.